the 30-second awning right here and my Ostrich Wing awning right out the back. I'm going to cover some of the finer features, some of the specs of these awnings. So stay tuned and we're going to go over the nitty-gritty of these. Now guys, Stephen's awning that you see right here that I'm standing underneath is the 30-second awning, which we covered yesterday. So, but we didn't cover the specs, the final details and the specs. So we're going to talk about that in the 30-second awning we see here, and then we're going to go over and have a look at my Ostrich Wing awning and check on that. Now I did some research, I went online and I had a look. Let's talk about the canvas, for example. Now the canvas on the 30-second awning is 280 GSM, which is grams per square meter, rip block canvas. Now that's the specs that I could find on it. So I believe rip block canvas is, well, I know rip block is a South African canvas. Like you got your canvas manufacturer here in Australia, South Africa have their own canvas manufacturer, and their best canvas is what's called the rip block canvas. I don't know how it compares to Australian canvas that we get made here, but from what I can see, to me it looks like it compares really well. I can't tell a lot of difference between them, particularly on mine with its heavier duty, heavier grade canvas material that I'll show you shortly. So they're both UV treated, so they've got all the critical, features on it that we need so they will last. Now for example, Stephen's awning here, this is 6 years old. 6 years old, guys, and it still works like the day he bought it. My opinion, I don't think it's as heavy duty built as the Ostrich Wing, and you're going to expect that, guys, because this is some $600-700 cheaper than that awning over there. So hey, if I bought an awning that costs more than that, obviously guys, I didn't pay that much for this because I got a deal through the distributor, as many years YouTube creators would know. He's got a sort of popular following. We get a lot of this stuff at a reduced price. But of course we film it and tell you about it as well. I've had quite a few people get back to me and saying, oh, this is crap, this is no good. I had it out in the conditions and the wind picked up and it broke. They're freestanding, yeah, but if there's any chance of any strong winds or likely of a storm coming, all right, or you're camping overnight, I would not suggest to set these up without having some ropes out. Even mine, as sturdy as it is, they still recommend to have the ropes out just in case you get that freakish storm or whirly wind to come through. And where I live, there's very chance of that happening. So there's not a lot of wind right here right now, although it has just picked up in the last, just as I started filming. In fact, just before I started filming, we had a big gust of wind come out, and Steve quickly came out and put a rope out here, as you can see. Okay, and you can see here, look, this one's just moving. Now I mentioned in the video yesterday that we noticed a lot of more flex in this one here. So you can see that. But have a look at this. Guys, he has pegged that down, okay? So that's not a good example. But even if that wasn't pegged down, that'll be the same. Look at that. Watching yesterday's video, you would have noticed that I mentioned, and both we were sitting here when the wind was picking up, and mine was a lot sturdier. And yeah, I agree, it is a lot sturdier. I think I can leave mine out in a stronger wind longer than what Steve's has. But you got to remember, Steve's is 6 years old. So, and I noticed in this bar here, this is the one I noticed that was flexing the most, as you can see. He's got these, they're like a brass, aren't they, Stephen? And that's the difference. We're going to go into some difference, and we're going to talk about that. In the mounting system here, Steve's got brass here. That one is loose, and looks to me, it's worn out, whereas these ones are rigid. Now, I reckon, if he replaced that brass fitting in there, this is going to be rigid, and it won't flex as much. But honestly, God, I don't think you need to worry about doing it. Because, look, it's fine. So what if it does that? The wind picks up real strong, you just peg it out. Remember, this is a 6-year-old awning. So, I've been a bit surprised about some of your comments out there immediately saying it's crap. It's not crap for the price. Remember, you're paying not much more than $1,000 for this. And I've seen some other awnings out there equivalent to $1,000 that, guys, I don't think they're going to be around anywhere around. I think they'll be well and truly buried underground within 6 years. And some of them are even cost more than $1,000. But you got to remember, you have to look after these, okay? You have to give them a little bit of respect, all right? So if it looks like you're on the beach, peg them out. If it looks like there's going to be a bit of wind blowing coming in like there is now, Steve came and quickly put a rope out there because the breeze picked up. Put them out. So 6 years he's used this a lot, and he's never ever had anything breakages, any of these break here, guys. So that's a point we're going to talk about. This bracket here. On Steve's I noticed it's got like a metal one. On mine, it's got like a nylon bush on there, and I was reading about it. Apparently it makes it more sturdy, and it makes it smoother to open and close. I haven't tried this, I don't know what it's like, and I must admit, when I do open and close that, it's just a smooth, steady flow just all the way around. The poles, to me, look like they're very similar. The build, this is a big difference. Mine is a lot more heavy duty when it comes to the arm, as I showed you yesterday. Okay, you would have noticed that. They've both got zippers, all right. I also had someone asked, can you do a video on the walls? Unfortunately, Steve didn't bring his walls with him. I would have. I do have my walls with me, but I don't want to put them up right now. I don't need them. But I thought I did a video on the walls, but it might have been just a few photos I put on Instagram a while back. So when I get back home, or next camping trip I'll put the walls up, and I'll do a video on the walls that you get with the Ostrich Wing. Now I've only got 2 walls, and they're only just the plain walls. So with the Ostrich Wing, you can actually get a full wall kit that's one's got a window, another one's got another window, another one's got a door that closes in. And I believe, I'll check with Stephen, that his walls have got those too. He's got the doors and windows. So he's purchased a full kit that's got all the doors and windows. But he's probably got one little advantage with his, is that the walls peg out on an angle. Okay? They come out like this, whereas mine are straight. So it's probably going to be a little bit more aerodynamic. And plus it'll give you a little bit more space out here. Like you can whack a table up here, you can whack a table there. And if the wind's coming real strong, you whack a table there, and it'll also protect it from the wind a bit. You can put a swag on there so you don't have to use this area here. So I think he's got an advantage there, but mind you, these things are huge. There's plenty of room either way. And again, the walls all zip on, which I like. You would have seen some of the, I don't know if if you ever noticed the video and some of the other awnings that I've owned that were attached with Velcro, and I'm not a great deal fan on the Velcro system with those type of walls, particularly some of the conditions I camp with. Very windy, really testy environment. I had many times where on that particular awning where the walls just blew down. I literally had the time on, and there was quite a fair bit you couldn't put it up on your own when there was any wind around, and most of the time I'm camping on my own. So quite often I get to camp with strong wind. I had to wait till the wind drops down before I could put the thing up. So, and pretty frankly, it was on my car for so long and never had a lot of use, because you go traveling on the road, okay, and you want to pull up and it's summertime, but you don't pull up because it's so hot. You get out and you want to cook a meal or brew a coffee. It's just, you can't put those awnings out because you need the poles, you need to peg them down. If you don't peg them down, they just, they're gone. Even you just blow on them, guys, and they will blow away, literally. So they're actually designed to break. That's how, that's how flimsy they are, guys. They're actually designed to snap, to break at a weak point so that you can fix them when they break. How crazy is that? They had to do that so these bars don't break. Now, I'm not going to mention any companies. There's many companies that do awnings like that. So I'm a big fan in these freestanding. Now, there are some disadvantages, guys, and it's the weight. They are heavier, okay? The stronger they are, the heavier they're going to be. There are some around that are a lot lighter, not by much, but I like to see how they'll handle the wind. I think you have to literally peg them down like, I don't know, I need to see what they're going to be like in the wind and what they're going to be like when it rains heavy. Because one advantage I had, particularly on one that's a rapid wing awning that I had, you would have seen, that when it's raining, is I never had issues with pooling with it, because that weak point I mentioned that was built in here, the plastic that was connected in here with a plastic sleeve, it was quite flexible, so you were able to raise one pole as much as 2-3 feet more than the other one, drop another one down and drop another one down. So if you go back, you would have noticed that on some of my videos, how I've done that in some of the camping trips. These are solid, guys, you can't do that, okay? So you do have to be wary of that. Now with mine, I don't have a pulling issue with mine, and I think that's because of the tightness of the heaviness of the canvas. It's less likely that it will stretch, which is good. I expected there would have been a pulling issue, but there's not. Steve was telling me that sometimes he does have these clips that he's got is that right, Steve? He's got these clips that he's got. You can go to eBay, guys, and get these cheap clips and put them on here. I think, actually, Steve's going to grab one now and show me. You get these clips, and we'll move up the camera and show you, and you put them then here, and see how that pulls down? Here we go, he's got one here. Actually, can I bring that up here? Guys, check this out. Hang on, get back in the sun. See that? These clips, you can get these on eBay. Alright, so go keep an eye out for these. And Stephen can demonstrate how he does this. And guys, one day, just to be on the safe side, I'm going to get clips like this too. So they clamp on there, and then you peg them down onto the ground, and you can see how that forms a beautiful runoff. So you're never going to have any pooling issues there. So it's easy to rectify. and it'll also aid in holding down in conditions like now. You probably can't hear it because this mic's pretty well windproof, but this breeze is just all of a sudden picked right up. So Stephen's doing the smart thing, picking it down and make sure it stays. So now, it's not always you need to do this, guys. You only need to worry about this. It's just a precaution. That bit of wind that came through, this would have handled it no problems. But where we're camping, there seems to be some right on dot. I don't know what is the time now. Okay, we're still early, but 4 p.m. on the dot. Every day we've been here, there's a big gush of wind comes through. And we know about it now, so we get prepared beforehand. So, I don't know if there's one other thing. Sometimes with these 270-degree awnings, depending on the way they're mounted, and I'll show you with mine, it's something I need to rectify. Not as big as an issue as it looks when you first look at it because of my rooftop tent when it's set up. We've got this gap in here, okay? Sometimes these don't go, you can't really tuck them in underneath. So what Steve's done is he's got someone made up some Velcro and a bit of canvas, and he's put the canvas in here so that when it rains, the water don't go in between there and here. And where if he's got his fridge out, he's got a kitchen out or something like that, there's no issue. The rains won't be an issue. So let's move the camera around and go have a closer look at mine. Here's my setup, guys. You see my rooftop tent? Got a little portable little generator here, as you probably would have seen that I'm testing out. And of course, the awning. And inside, well, you know what's inside there right now. They've been testing and they've been working perfectly. I cannot tell you how happy I am with it. So let's have a look. I got a sheet here, written down some of the specs. Now, you remember I talked about weight on these. Both I believe are very similar weight. Mine might be a few kilos heavier. So looking at ballpark around 27 kilos, okay, with this one here. Now, you might think that's a fair bit of weight. And yeah, for some of you it is. So not all vehicles can handle that, okay. It's got a heavy duty olive green 380 GM treated safari rip block canvas, which is the best canvas that they manufacture in South Africa. So of course this is from South Africa. So actually let's talk about that, South Africa. Yesterday I mentioned that I think I mentioned both awnings are made in South Africa. I definitely know 100% this is South African. In fact, Ostrich Wing in South Africa are the original. This is the original 270 degrees freestanding awning. I believe they started making these back in 2008, or it could be as early as 2005 when they started making these. Okay. Now I was told the 32nd awning is made in South Africa. As far as I know, it's made in South Africa. But someone commented on a video yesterday that he thought they were made in China. Now, I'm pretty sure Steve's never heard that. So, I've never heard anything mentioned about that. As far as I know, I don't think these are made in China. I originally used to think that they were made in Australia, the 32nd awning. Because to be honest, guys, I actually looked at purchasing a 32nd awning, and I would have if I had not owned a Vitara at the time. About 3-4 years ago, before I went searching for a 270 degree awning, I was driving around a little Vitara, Suzuki Vitara. So you know, they're pretty small vehicle, and I wanted a 32nd awning, but I couldn't put that much weight on the top. So if I had a vehicle like this, I would have had a 30-second awning right now, and it would have been on the vehicle for the last 3 years. And that was the only thing that stopped me from purchasing, is because of the weight. So yes, it all depends on your vehicle, how much you can put up there. But now I've got this much bigger vehicle, I can put more stuff on it, more better quality stuff, which makes it easier for me, and that's what it's all about, glamping. So both are pretty much, I believe, the same size, 2.4 metre, heavy duty arms. This one's got the nylon bushes for sturdiness and smooth operation. I can vouch it is a smooth operation on this. And of course I mentioned the canvas, which is 380 GM on this one, 280 GSM canvas rip block on the 30-second awning, which is still good awning. Now it says rip block, so I believe, from what I could find, that's a South African awning, and I believe I've been told that these are made in South Africa. I cannot 100% vouch on that. So Stephen and myself last night, we were actually sat under that tarp there in the cool weather with a nice fire going, researching on our phones for probably at least an hour, weren't we? To find out where are these 30-second awnings. And you know, the closest thing I could find on the manufacturer, I found one site, it had manufacturer unknown. I kid you not, unknown manufacturer. But I got from a pretty good source that I trust, that he told me they're made in South Africa. So as far as I know, both are made in South Africa. So, and that's why I said both are South African. So one day I will do a video on the walls, and one day when I catch up with Stephen again, if he brings the walls with him, we can do a comparison with the walls as well. So as you can see, the poles are very similar. I think the poles are just manufactured in the same place. That's why I'm kind of more thinking that that is indeed a South African product. Got the socket and ball, how they attach it, so you can remove them if you want to, for whatever reason. I've got no idea why you would. Mine is quicker to set up, only because I got the quick setup tough touring brackets. And that's what we're going to get to now. I got a bit of gap in here because this is set at such a distance off here. You can see there's a bit of gap there. So if it rains and I've got all that electronic stuff there, well then I'm up to shit really. I can't really cook unless I move it all out, and I don't have extension leads off that power point to reach there. So I need to do something about that and do with similar what Stephen done. But depending which way the wind is blown, you have a look at my rooftop tent. See, it's got that awning all the way around. Now I'm standing here and that awning is going past this. So unless the wind is coming from this direction, I'm not going to have any issues. So if the wind comes from that direction, and I make sure it comes in that direction, no problems. Now, this is a freestanding awning, guys. I got no ropes. I don't have to have ropes attached to this. I got no ropes attached to this. If it looks like it's going to start raining, you know all I have to do, and I've done it before, unhook this ladder, get in the car, drive around, turn around, face the other direction. So when it's raining, it comes in that direction. I don't have any water coming through here. So very easy to do. And you can do that. You can drive around very carefully with this all set up like so. It's sturdy enough to do it. I wouldn't drive on the highway doing it, or even at 60 k's I wouldn't attempt that, or on a really rough dirt road unless you're going super slow. This has been a lot longer video than I thought it was going to be, but I hope you enjoyed it. Let's talk about the heats. These are all heat seam with tape. I'm not a big fan of it, because I have owned a lot of tents over the years. They've had those heat seam tapes, and in our climate, that's the first thing that breaks down on your tent. And as soon as that breaks down, water starts getting in. Now, it's not a problem now with some of these items, these sealers and all that, tapes, these other type of sealers, the cream or whatever you can use, and you can, you know, even a wax candle you can run over it. It's not an issue. So Stevens is 6 years old, and only one spot on his awning where that seam tape is still sitting on there, but it's peeling off. It's not going to be there long, so they don't last long. This one's probably slightly improved, because instead of using this particular type of tape that they normally use, I've seen in tents that breaks down in no time in our conditions, our climate and our humidity and our heat up here in central Queensland. This one's probably going to last a bit longer. But as Stephen pointed out this morning, we can start seeing early signs of the glue. It's actually breaking down and coming off. Hey Steve? So it's happening on this too. So not a major problem, really. I would have liked to see manufacturers not use that type of system where they've got to use these tapes and glue it on. Because guys, it's useless. It doesn't last a year. It limits the life of your products, particularly these backpacking tents. I got to the point, I made a point that I never ever bought a tent if it had those heat seal tapes on there, because I know that will limit the life of that tent. So, but Stephen was telling me, even though he's lost all that heat seal tape, it's never leaked, has it? He hasn't had any water. Have you done anything to that? Did you put any waterproofing? So it hasn't leaked. And guys, it's because of the canvas. As you know, you treat the canvas when you get a canvas tent, like your Oz tents and so on. You put it out in the weather and you get the hose and treat it, and expands and shrinks, expands and shrinks. What it does is it closes all those stitchings, it closes them right in. So I think you guys down, you know, manufacturers are probably thinking, you know, oh yeah, no, we'll add these, just an additional waterproofing point. But really, I mean, sure, when you first get these tents, if they don't have that heat seal and tape in them, they're going to leak until your tent, your canvas is set, is stretched and shrunk. It's gone through that wearing process where it shrinks in that stitching and then seals it up. But once that happened, and it's happened with the Rapid Wing awning I had, it leaked for a while. And probably would have happened with the awning on their dot trailer over here. You probably can't see it, but just off to the left, right of me, there's a dot trailer. I bet you when they got that burned new, or they got it second hand, they probably wouldn't have noticed that the previous owners probably had some water leaking through there but the idea is you take it home, you set up in your backyard, get the hose on it, and you do that a number of times, hose it down, get it saturated, let it dry, do the same, saturated, let it dry, and that sets the stitching. So you probably don't need it, but it's going to be interesting to check and see what it'll be like as they break down more. So I think I covered everything. Stephen, is there anything else? I think that's everything. I can't think of any other questions that people have asked and I haven't addressed. So guys, this is a lot longer video than I thought it would be, but you know me, I like these long videos anyway. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe, guys. And also, I meant to say this at the start of the video, but this section I might edit it and put it at the start. Guys, you might notice on my YouTube channel that I'm now starting to get monetized and the ads are coming up. So that's, by you watching the ads, particularly if you don't skip them, I get a few dollars from those videos in my pocket, and it goes a long way into helping me produce these videos, because they're quite expensive with the equipment that I got to use and the time and getting all these equipment and so on, subjects so I can film. But I enjoy doing it, and that's why I mainly do it, for that reason, not to get a couple of dollars in the pocket. But it's taken a lot of dollars out of my pocket. It's costing quite a fair bit with the editing time, the paying for the royalty-free music and all that stuff that something like $60, $70 a month I'm paying to use royalty-free background music or sound effects and some of the videos, etc. as well. And then there's the ongoing fee for the Premiere Pro and all that, to use that, and Photoshop and that. So I've been lucky, and there's a new test that's come out. It's called Thanks. If you have a look in the video below, you'll see a little icon there. It's got thanks on it, guys. If you think my videos are worthy, it's fine if you don't do it. But if you think the time or effort's worth maybe a couple of dollars in your pocket, go get a can of Coke or something, drink after doing all this, which is what I'm going to do after this because my mouth is dry. You can go in there and actually donate some money at $2.99. I think it's got from $2.99 right up to $70 or whatever. So it's not much, less than a cup of coffee if you wish. So that'll be a nice way to thank me. And it's a new feature, and I've been one of the lucky ones where YouTube have chosen to have that feature on. And I think it's been up, it's only released about a month ago, and it's only recently that I've set it up on there. So have a look and see what you think, see how it works and so on. If you're willing to give that a shot, that'd be great. I'd really appreciate it. Otherwise, it's all fine, it's all good. So guys, till next time, look after yourself, eh? And cheers. See ya.